shadows where the whispers dwell, always trying to unring the bell. The red road calls a path less known, with haunted streets where the eerie winds moan. Creatures lurking just beyond the light, not just tales spun to frighten the night. The masquerade of ghosts, they walk along in this gritty realm. We're all too young. Take the red road, let the spirits unfold. Follow resonant cockins, let the mysteries be told. Through the dark we'll weave into the unknown. With each step we take closer to home.
Welcome back to Road Paranormal, everyone. It's your favorite Resnick here. Before we get started, I do want to ask you guys to say a prayer for two people out there. First one would be for Miss Gwen Johns, my producer and a good friend of mine. She's going in for shoulder surgery tomorrow, so please, if you could, keep her in your prayers for a speedy recovery. And again, a little update on our little friend Wyatt. I remember I brought him to you guys' attention a while back about this little boy having stomach cancer. Please pray for him because it's starting to spread. It's gone into his liver, his kidneys, and it's showing up in his brain. Again, this boy is only 5 years old to have all this stuff going on with him. So please, if we can get, the community to pray for this little boy, hopefully a healthy recovery, and he can beat this and live a nice long life. So please, prayers for Wyatt. With that being said, next step is, let me introduce my guest, Mr. J.D. Hill. Come on up here.
Hey.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. I've actually been looking forward to this for a while. I've been wanting to chat with you for, I don't know, we've been friends on Facebook for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So this is an honor for me. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
So, hey, Kimmy. So those are my followers and friends that are tuning in tonight. Why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Oh, my name's Jay Hill, and I am a podcaster. I've got 5 different shows that I produce and manage myself.
Nice.
I also am a psychic medium, paranormal investigator, speaker. I kind of do it all. But yeah, I'm more focused on my podcast shows and whatnot. I'm working on trying to raise funds for my documentary films, which I hope to have, get going this year, because I really want to. There's some places that I really need to get down to, like Gettysburg and places like that I'm working on trying to tell some stories that haven't really been told, but some good heartstring stories.
Nice.
Also working on a book that it's gonna take. It's been in the works for like 2 years, but I'm still plugging away and trying to, anyways. And I've got some other things in the works, and so
awesome.
I'm busy.
Awesome. I hear you. With me, with the day job, I don't have much time to get out that much anymore. So I feel the fact of being busy all the time and having all these projects you're wanting to do, it's hard to find time.
It is. I mean, especially when you're doing podcasting and managing and producing your own shows, it can be a little overwhelming, So.
Oh yeah. So you mentioned Gettysburg. That's one of my bucket list places. I've yet to be there. I'm dying to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So have you ever been out to the Bash at all?
I have not. I have distant relatives that are connected to Gettysburg,
Okay.
on the Confederate side. So, it's something that I've always been fascinated with and kind of drawn to and whatnot. But just something about Gettysburg,
Yeah, I feel you. There's a calling there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for it. I know there's a lot of locations across this country that I'm called out to, and yeah, Gettysburg is one of them. You know, I'd love to go to just the bash to hang out, but I think I'd want to go a separate time to actually get do some investigating and see what kind of stories I can uncover out there.
I hate to do this real quick, but I accidentally locked my wife out at the door, so I got to go let her in real quick. I'm so sorry.
You don't need to let her in.
Yeah.
So while he runs and lets the wifey in, everyone, I hope you're all having a great night. It's a beautiful Tuesday. So, but why don't you guys get this chat going and see what we got going on? I see Nathaniel's in there. What's up, buddy? Miss you, love you. Can't wait to be on your show. Was it next month already? Looking for it. Lee, love you. I don't have any commercials. Unless Sean's got anything for the network he can run. Got no problem with that. Hey, Christy. How we doing? Yep, next month. Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any commercials to run besides the one we did when we opened.
Oh well. Well, we can sit and chat a little bit. So what's new exciting in your world?
Same old, same old. I'm filling in for the Gwen for the rest of the week here because she's having surgery tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll get you.
Sorry about that, folks.
Oh, not a problem.
She had her house key in their jacket, and anyways, okay. So
yeah. You know, I like the little mood ambiance you got going on over there. I dig it.
Yeah, you know, I used to do my show in a haunted location. I used to do it in a haunted hotel.
Okay.
In Lake Geneva here, the Maxwell Mansion, and I did that for almost a couple of years. Had great interviews and had some activity on live, and which was cool,
Yeah.
But when they remodeled, they kind of kicked me out a little bit. They said they didn't have the room for me anymore, so I said okay. So I built this in my downstairs in my house, and yeah, I'm all about the low lighting.
Right. Yeah, I would be too, but unfortunately my camera would not pick me up enough. So but eventually when I actually get a studio, I'll be setting it up like that.
Right. Yeah. Only about 10 hours, few hours to come up with.
Nice.
So yeah, it's my own little private heaven.
Yeah.
My own little studio.
You kind of need that nowadays with all the crap going on in the world. You need a spot where you can retreat to and kind of do your own thing.
Right. Yeah. I need a little getaway space, which is what I kind of created. And having done so many different paranormal shows and different podcasts and stuff like that, I've gone through half dozen mics and cameras and lighting, and yeah. So I was thumbing through Facebook the other day, and if I'm not mistaken, you have something coming up at Broadhead in the future. I do. Actually, the horror death metal band, Casket Robbery, asked me to join them on an investigation in July.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, it was I was supposed to have an event come that was supposed to happen in April, but it didn't happen. I won't get into details, but it was canceled. And then so yeah, I basically started talking to these guys from Casket Robbery, and they said, yeah, we'd love to have you. And other people are reaching out to me as well at Broadhead. So, and plus I'm not even an hour away from Broadhead. So
right.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. If I was that close to Broadhead, Bill would never get rid of me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Bill's told me, he's like, you have an, open-ended invitation whenever you want to come out, and
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that I have friends like that,
Me too.
So
yeah, I love Bill to death. There's been times where I've called him up where I'm just passing it. Hey, you at the manor? Yeah, pop in. And
right.
detour right on over, go hang
Mhm.
out for the night.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that's one of the brothers.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So,
yeah, definitely.
mhm. So what got you into the world of paranormal?
I would have to say that I didn't really get into it. It kind of got into me.
Okay.
So, me being who I am and knowing that, I wasn't so much that I was fascinated with paranormal because I kind of was early on. I remember reading books in like third grade where my first book was Ghosts by Daniel Cohen. And I read that from cover to cover, and that
Okay.
was, I'm old, so that was way back in the day. But that
Well,
was kind of like,
you're not that old, buddy. We're right around the same age here. Come on now.
I call myself an old man, yeah. After trying to mow the lawn the other day, yeah, I'm an old man. So
Huffing and puffing out there, weren't we?
yeah, it took me like 3 hours to get the yard done. But anyways, so yeah, I really I loved reading, and I love the paranormal, the ghosts and everything, and you're gonna laugh, but what got me into ghosts and all that stuff was Scooby-Doo.
I can see it.
I grew up, I remember, I have a great memory. Can remember back to when I was 1, and when I started watching TV, Scooby-Doo was one of my favorite shows. That and the Three Stooges, and
Yep.
So yeah, I just was fascinated with, I don't know what it was, but it was just the whole spookiness and all of that. Well, come to find out later on, I had some instances with the paranormal, with seeing a full body apparition when I was 16, and in a house actually I lived in down here where I live in Lake Geneva downtown, which is now a sushi restaurant, and so yeah, it was one of those things where it wasn't that I was into it, but I wasn't like so into it, but it was more into me because I would run across it more times than I could count. It would just everywhere I would go or everywhere I lived, even getting older, I would live in different places. It was occupied, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? And that transcends even into places that I've worked. Have same thing.
Yep.
And
I deal with that on a daily basis. I hear you.
Yeah. So, which is cool for me because I am a medium, and I already know what's there. You know what I mean? If they usually kind of show themselves to a certain degree, I'm one of those people that can drive by an old house that draws my attention, and I'm like, yeah, that there's something there.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about there.
Yeah. Even when I'm not looking, there's been places that I've driven by that I see things that I probably would rather not. Historical things that have happened, bad things that have happened, and that's kind of puts it on my radar. So
yeah, I don't get the joys of seeing the things that often. But I do know how they call out. Different locations will call out to you. Driving down the road, and next thing you know, you're just staring, glazing at a particular location. And you're like, yeah, there's something there.
Well, you've been through was it Palmyra?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's an old building downtown in Palmyra.
Yep.
Me and my wife drove down there one time when we were just driving around, kind of doing the sightseeing, like just taking a Sunday drive, and we decided to go further up north, and we drove down Main Street, and I drove by that old brick building, and I was like, holy cow, and it just was like, and there's a bar in there and stuff, and I contacted them on that, probably 3 years ago, I contacted them, and wanted to get some more information if they would ever let somebody come in and do an investigation. I never heard anything back, but
Yeah, it seems that when you contact places like that, there's a lot of closed-minded people out there still. They just don't want to accept what's there.
yeah, that's true. It's true.
Because there's some locations I've reached out to and go, man, I know there's something there, and you don't
Mhm.
hear nothing back,
Right,
or you get the, you're funny.
right. It's funny. I have a story that this place that I worked at was an old country club, and it had um, I'm O negative blood type. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm AB actually, but I really don't know what blood type I am. But anyways, this place is I was got a job at this place about 2 years before. Somebody sent me a message when I used to have Wisconsin Paranormal Research Team that this place was haunted and you should go check it out. And I had a researcher and a person that contacts people and asked if they wanted to let us come in there to investigate and whatnot. And never heard back. And I was like, okay, whatever. A couple years later, I ended up working there as a cook.
Mhm.
And I had actually, when I had got that phone call about that place, I remote viewed it, and there was a gentleman in a suit, small, short guy in a suit standing in the corner, and I was standing there in this big, huge dining room with these pillars and windows, and I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
After I had gotten the job, after I went there, got the job, at the end of the interview that I was talking to with my old boss, I was standing in that same exact spot that I remote viewed like 3 years before.
Nice.
And so that was all familiar to me and all that. Yeah. So that was a really cool place. I saw shadows there. I heard voices. I heard, it's a very active place, So
nice.
Mhm.
Very cool. So, have you ever had like what we consider like an oh shit moment where you really thought about if this is really for you or not?
No, I can't say that I had an oh shit moment. I have had those, but the first time I had an oh shit moment where I actually said oh shit was when my grandmother visited me after being at the cemetery, and my grandmother came and visited. She was 5 feet above the floor, and I was like laying there, and I saw her and that's the only time I said oh shit. But it's funny because I never met my grandmother. She held me like when I was like 3 months old before she died, and then come to find out that she's one of my guides, and she's so yeah. But as far as like a really kind of questionable, the only time I would say like questionable about the paranormal is the fact that there's so much drama in the paranormal and so much BS. And it's kind of like it's at times it's made me want to kind of take a step back. You know what I mean? And I kind of just do my own thing, and but yeah.
We had someone ask, "Do you get goosebumps?"
Did you get goosebumps? No, I'm kind of used to that. Especially when I know that if spirit is around and they're trying to get my attention, my eyes will water.
Okay.
But I'll get a kind of like not really a flush feeling, but kind of like that. It's like, yeah, there's certain times where like I would get more goosebumps watching certain scary movies than I would,
Okay.
being in it in reality. Every once in a while I get, goosebumps like that, but usually it's kind of a normal thing for me. So I'm kind of used to it.
Yeah, depending on the situation or location, I do get the goosebumps from time to time. Literally, it feels like every hair in my body will stand up.
Right.
You know.
Right. Right.
So
I
that's
get that. I would get that more so driving by a location if there's something really negative or something like that. It kind of reaches out to grab because of the fact that a lot of a lot of people do know that they spirits can see your light but yeah. You're really trying to Morgan's
yeah,
awesome. I just
she is.
interviewed her last night.
Oh, nice.
She's fantastic. Yeah.
She'll be on the show next month also.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got her coming on. I've talked to her
Awesome.
a few times online, and she is an amazing woman.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, definitely. So what's been your favorite place you've been to?
Stanley Hotel in
Okay.
Estes Park.
Nice.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites. I love Colorado. I lived there when I was younger.
Yep.
So I know the mountains kind of like the back of my hand.
Okay.
And Estes Park is one of my favorites. And I've been there a couple times. And the first time I was there was a trip I took with a friend, and it was I would have to say it's probably one of my best paranormal experiences that I've had is just doing a walkthrough of that place and the pictures I took and the things I experienced in other places, and I had a shadow person follow me on our trip, and it was pretty weird, but yeah, it was cool. It would have to be one of my favorites, if not the favorite, because I love that hotel.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I love Colorado overall, period. I've driven through it a few times, got to stay down in Trinidad for a little while.
Okay.
Me and the ex-wife stayed, I think, 2 or 3 days down there out in one of the parks, and it was the first time in my life where I felt like I belonged there. It was
Yeah. You get that feeling
weird
because
feeling.
Yep. As soon as I see the Rocky Mountains, I feel like I'm home.
Yep.
Even though, I don't get me wrong, I love Wisconsin and I love, I was born here in Lake Geneva and I have my own, the lake is part of me, I mean, it's just I'm connected with that lake, you know what I mean? But there's something about Colorado that is, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels I'm so comfortable up there, and especially in the mountains, not so much down in by Denver or whatever, but anything in the mountains, Central City or Estes Park or even Grand Lake is another place. I still get messages in my email from Zillow when I was looking at houses one time, and I still get like weekly things. This house is available. This house.
Yeah.
That would be really nice, but I just like to see the properties.
Oh yeah, I went through that for about a year after I first went there, and I spent a year watching the properties, watching the weather.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So you could totally relate.
Yeah. And Lee Warner mentioned that she'd like to go Bigfooting in Colorado, and I think that'd be a good time too.
Yeah.
Anytime to get out in the woods, I'm down. I love being out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
So whether it's in the mountains, if it's down in the valleys, wherever, as long as it's surrounded by nature.
No, I do have a freaky story. Okay. I would say it was a ghost story about the mountains.
Okay.
Actually, I have a couple, but this one's pretty good. I mean, I was with my first wife. We were not on our honeymoon, but we were visiting because one of her family members lived there. So she took me up in the mountains, and we were by this place called Echo Lake. And we had a small S10 truck, granted, this is back in the early 90s. Okay.
Okay.
So, we went up there, and it was a full moon, and it was like there was a small campsite there that was kind of nestled in the woods, and this and that, and we decided to kind of hang out there and have a little campfire or whatever, and just sleep in the back of the truck, and there was a car that was parked on the other side that was stuck, or it was kind of muddy, and so it was trying to get out, and we could hear him try to get out, and he was not having any luck, and it sounded like an old Datsun. It was really loud and this and that, and it was really weird, and we were sitting there in the back of the truck just talking, and then we saw this silhouette, of this guy walk over to us, and we can't see because it's pitch black except for the moon,
right?
And all you could see is a silhouette, and he kind of was like, "Hey, how's it going, guys?" And it's like, "Yeah, he didn't even, I don't think he said his name, but it was just really weird. It was really weird out of the sense that he just started talking to us. We could have been some crazy people, and but anyway, right. So he started talking, and it was weird. The conversation got really different and got really weird, and talked about the lake. And he's like, "Oh, if you want to go fishing in the morning, we should go fishing." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." We don't have any poles. We don't, And he's like, "Yeah," and it was just got this super creepy, weird vibe, and so long story short, he went back to his car, and he went in, he got in his car or whatever, and I didn't see him after that. We didn't really pay attention. We kind of laid down. When we got up in the morning, when the sun came out, there was no way there was a car there. There was no tracks there. There was no, didn't look like anybody got stuck there, but we could hear it with him revving his engine, and all the, the mudslinging, and hear, it was just, but nothing was there. It was just an empty spot, but there were no tire tracks there. There was no nothing. And we didn't even hear him leave, and his car was loud.
Nice.
And we didn't even hear him leave.
To me, it kind of sounds like maybe you got stuck in a little time slip there. Back
kind of, because, I mean, it could have been totally, but it was just bizarre when we woke up and we're expected to see that guy still sitting there, because he was probably, I don't know, maybe 30 feet away, and it didn't look like there was a car there. It didn't look like, we would have heard him leave, definitely. Yeah. He would have had to drive right by us, because he would have to go right through to get to the exit, and we didn't hear him, and we were half asleep and half awake. We didn't really sleep. We were just laying in the back of the truck.
Right.
And so, that was weird.
See, the investigator made me wanting to go back and trying to figure that out myself. Go back.
And at that time, I wasn't actually. We chalked it up as, that's really bizarre, and that's a weird scenario, and this and that. But we left it at that. If it would have been something that happened to me last week, I would have been like, oh, I would have been all over that. Like,
right.
I would have been like, did his car go back in the embankment? Did his car, where did he go? Where are the footprints? Where, yeah. So, but that was one of my first experiences in creepiness in the Rocky Mountains.
Interesting. Yeah, that is kind of freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Yeah, that you having stuff like this happen to you, we need to hang out. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, right.
So what else are you up in? What are you into?
Not really too much. Like I said, I kind of just focus on my podcast, and I'm just I don't do a lot of research anymore, because if I get invited someplace, I want to be able to do it cold. You
Yeah.
know, I want to be able to tell, you know, what's there without, you know, getting any, you know, information.
Preconceived notions.
Right. I have a friend of mine that I sometimes investigate with, and he used to kind of be, you know, my camera guy when I had my team, but
Mhm.
I would get like messages, like images of things sometimes, and like before I would go to bed. That's usually when I get all my stuff, is right before I go to bed.
Okay.
And I would send him a message and be like, "Are you working on something?" And he'd be like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because I am getting this and this and that." And he's like, "Oh, interesting." He's like, "Oh yeah, we have an investigation coming. You know, we're going to go to a place." And you know, so that's how I knew, you know, that he was working on something. You know, and yeah, we had a couple times that we did investigate that I got the information first matched up pretty much with where he was taking me. So
Cool. Nice.
mhm.
Ooh, excuse me. See, that's the one thing I'm having an issue with now that I'm independent. I really don't have a team that I work with anymore. I kind of just work with whoever is available and wants to get together and do something. I don't have the liberty always to go in blind because a lot of
Yeah.
places that you go, oh yeah, come on, check us out. We got blah, 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 blah happening, and I'm like,
Hmm.
there goes my confirmation.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That's
nice.
why I like to go blind. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you are, but I second guess myself all the time still, even though I know I shouldn't. I've proven myself right
it's
enough.
when I had Morgan on last night, we talked about that a little bit about second guessing yourself and, you know, doubting yourself and whatnot. And it's just that's just normal. It's
Yeah,
just
it's human
something
nature.
that happens. It's yeah, it's, you know, as long as you don't let your ego trump that doubt, you can control that doubt. You can control
Yeah,
that, hold that. But as soon as you let ego come in, ego shoves that all aside and then kind of rules the roost. And so that's why I
hmm
try to be as humble as I can. And that's not even with spirituality, it's just with being, you know, a human,
yeah,
you know, is I try
yeah.
to be as genuine and as humble as I can, and I try not to let people ruffle my feathers, and you know, so
Oh yeah, I feel that. Trust me. Yeah,
mhm.
I when people start talking about, oh, you're becoming a star. No, I'm just a little old redneck. I
Right,
am who I am.
right,
I stay in my lane. What you see is what you get.
right. And I do the same thing. I have a small circle of friends, and I keep it that
Yep.
way on purpose.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah.
I've branched out a couple times. I've networked a few times,
Yep.
but the percentage of positive networking outside my circle is probably 25%. You know,
Yeah.
you know. So this other 75%, not so much.
The biggest thing is you got to find someone that's in line with the same goals and theories that you are, and
Right.
that's hard.
My frequency has to match up with somebody else.
Yep.
So
Yeah. And that's a tough one too, because with us being mediums, we vibrate at a higher frequency than your average person because of
right,
what we do. So it doesn't always mix right.
right. And a lot of people don't realize too is that um, you know, being gifted and intentionally you're not necessarily intentionally lowering your frequency, but when you follow the drama and follow the BS and contribute to all that, that lowers your frequency because you're lowering yourself below the plane.
Hmm
And then that's when you get frustrated. That's when you doubt yourself more. That's when your ego comes in. That's when all this stuff. So keeping yourself in genuine mode and not paying attention to the static, which is I have a saying is rise above the static, and I need to make a T-shirt of that. You know,
I
rise
can
above the
help you with that.
yeah, okay, rise above the
I
static. So yeah, I believe in that, and I think that a lot of that stuff that's going on, even in the world and even in the paranormal, it's just static. And
yeah.
once you rise above that, you're going to hear and see the things that are going to resonate with you more.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely. I agree wholeheartedly with you on that one.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, people get confused
Yep.
by our frequency. Right, because those people usually have a tendency to run at a lower frequency because of their lifestyle. They're
Yep.
same thing with emotional vampires. And we all know what those are.
Yep.
And you get in contact with them and they will suck the life right out of you without even blinking an eye. But I usually catch that pretty quick. I'm pretty good at catching that. Because I've had quite a few people in my life that have been those, emotional vampires.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is.
But you got to stick to your grounds and, let those that are, how do I want to say this without sounding like an ass, but you have to worry about letting those into your circle that are actually worthy enough to be in that circle.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And the emotional vampires, the drama queens and kings.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to kind of ignore that.
Look at it this way, because I use analogies a lot, and it's kind of some of them are kind of my saving grace. But if you picture a police station, and the police station is organized, and you have cops that take care of business and take care of crime and whatnot. You're definitely not going to want a serial killer to work in the police station.
Right.
So that's the way I kind of look at it. I mean, there's certain institutions and you being a person is your own institution. You don't want to allow that to come into your circle, your energy circle, or your, buildings, your building. And yeah, so I'm very protective of that. I'm very I'm very aware. I would have to say in the last 5-10 years, I've become more aware than I ever have in my entire life. Not to say that I'm woke or anything, because I hate that term. But,
right.
I'm awake. I see you, that type of thing. So
yeah. Now, you talked about, protective bubbles and all that. Now, do you bubble up before you go on an investigation at all?
Every time I leave, right before I leave the house. Yep. Every single day. And I had to do that because before I would do that, I had a vehicle that I purchased, and I knew that there was something odd about it, and there was something in it, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I come to find out it was a person that committed suicide and was stuck in the vehicle.
Okay.
And I didn't realize something kept telling me, don't buy this vehicle, don't do it. And I didn't listen. And it's what I wanted. I want.
Yeah.
And one day I was on my way to work and I got jumped. I got jumped by this spirit, this entity, and I felt everything that this person felt, including the anger, the frustration, the hatred, the grr, the whole 9 yards. I had to stop at a quick trip, stop and park my car, and then do praying and do all this stuff to just get this off of me. And once it was off, I was like, yeah, you can never do that again. You're not allowed. And right after, probably about a month or so after that, I got rid of the car. I said, okay, I traded it and I didn't want nothing to do with it. And I just bought it like not even a year before. I'm like, nope, I'm done with that. So after that, I realized that I had to protect myself. That was a lesson I needed to learn, so I protect myself multiple times during the day, So
and we need to, that's actually a lesson that I hope people learn.
I try to teach that to people. I try to teach that to investigators too, just before, or if they've ever been on an investigation or even before going on an investigation, to protect themselves, in some fashion, so that you're not affected negatively, or you're not drained or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I wish I was drained after an investigation. Usually I'm wide awake. I'll get home from an investigation. I'm spun right tight till the next day.
Right.
But, as far as teaching people, one of the things I try to teach people also is remember on how you say things. For prime example, one of my favorite things is teach them that this is my sacred space, not my safe space. Because when you put the words out there being this is my safe space, you're putting out to the universe that you're in some kind of danger or you're waiting for some kind of danger.
Right.
By owning it as it being your sacred space, that means that's yours. You've now owned that space, that bubble. So it's one thing that I try. Because a lot of people go, oh, it's my safe space. It's my safe. Well, no, that's not the way to go about it. Because you're just asking for trouble then.
Right.
There's certain words the universe doesn't understand, or they understand it differently in how we portray it.
It's all about interpretation.
Yep. Whatever you put out in the universe, you're going to get back one way or another. So you got to watch how you put it out there. So yeah, I see.
Christy, ground yourself. Hardcore ground yourself. Take your shoes off, do laps or walks around in your yard, hug a tree, sit by a tree. That will kind of calm some of that. But you have to kind of do that religiously. Like it's like taking medicine. It's almost like you kind of got to do it every day or every other day or something that's going to kind of take holds.
Yes, grounding is important. And if you don't have trees by you, another way I've learned to do it is if you're by the water, take your shoes and socks off, stand in the water, close your eyes, feel that as that water moves back and forth at your feet, feel the heat from the sun coming in from the top of your crown, and push it through the entire body into the water, and feel that coldness on your toes from where the sand or the mud is, and just kind of let it cycle, let it all go. And
visualization is key too, and that's where it's at. You know what I mean? So I was gonna say too, I have a grounding mat that I purchased from Amazon, and I have it underneath my my sheet or my blanket that I lay on when I watch TV or whatever. And where when I nap, I plug that bad boy in, and I get that grounding that way. Now people think that grounding mats don't work, and maybe some of them don't, but the one that I got does. It serves my purpose, and but you can't go around. You can't go wrong with taking your shoes off and your socks and standing in the yard in the ground, on top of the grass and
I love being up here in the woods for that reason alone.
Oh yeah.
I'm surrounded by nature. Even
do you have a favorite? This is gonna sound weird, but do you have a favorite tree?
Actually, I do. And it's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's a heck of a ride to get out to it. It's an old logging trail, and it's right by the water.
What kind of tree is it?
Honestly, I don't know what the kind of tree it is.
Okay, so I like birch trees. I like the trees that are like in Colorado, up in like on the trails and up in the mountains and whatnot, the foothills. We have one of those in our front yard, which is nice. Okay. I mean, I like that. But my favorite tree is actually a pine tree, and it's super tall, and it's got a small bushel of leaves or like pine needles on the very top. The rest of them, they're it's like 2 stories tall, and they're naked. They have small branches sticking out, but they're naked except for the very top. For some reason, that's I don't know what kind of tree that is, but it's my favorite. And I've driven by them a couple different times down here, and
Well, if you like pine, need to come up and visit some weekend. And
Oh yeah.
I got a giant pine in my front yard that's
Mhm.
ancient. And then talk
Yeah.
about birch. I got birch throughout the property.
Yeah.
I know we got some cherry out there and some maples and some oaks and a little bit of everything up here.
Mhm. Oh yeah, and the air is so clean up there. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Going up to when I went up to Mercer and I could actually breathe up there, and it was just
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I know anytime I go back home to Chicago and I start hitting Fond du Lac south, I can
Yep.
tell the difference in quality of the
Oh
air.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, the further south you go into Illinois, it gets worse. You know.
No offense, but anywhere in Illinois.
I can't say too much when I was born and raised down there. I'm originally a Chicago kid, but
Yeah. You know, a lot of my family were born in Illinois, so
yeah. So yeah, definitely. But all right. So now, if you can go anywhere in the world to go investigate, where would you go? Anywhere. Money's not an option. Getting there's not an option.
anywhere in the world
Anywhere
or
in the
anywhere
world.
in the United States. Okay, anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world, or if you want to do both, United States and then do the world, whatever.
I would like to investigate Edinburgh Castle in Scotland.
Okay. Yep, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I could totally dig that. I've always wanted to do a castle.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as far as,
I have actually have ancestries from the 15th century who was like the sheriff of Nottingham that guarded King James.
Okay. Nice.
So, yeah, I love Scotland. I have Scot blood in me, as well as Irish, and then
Yeah,
a lot of
I have a little
German.
bit of Irish.
Yeah.
A little bit of
Yeah.
Irish, a little bit of Welsh, and a whole lot of Native. So
Yeah, actually, my daughter is part Blackfoot Indian.
okay.
So,
I have a pinch of Blackfoot in me. I'm
yeah,
Stockbridge, Oneida, and Blackfoot. I get the Blackfoot.
but she's
from my
also
dad's
got
side of the
Italian in
family.
her, and that's all
She's
bets
got a
are off
temper.
on that. Yeah,
She's got a temper.
she's
Native
she's
and Italian.
a grudge holder. That's what she is.
Yeah. Well,
But, yeah.
my boys, my two youngest boys, are Native, Italian, and Mexican. So you can only imagine what I got to deal with.
Right.
You know. But yes. So what we got here? Oh, that's cool.
Nice. That's cool.
Very cool. So now so you want to go over to Scotland. What about here in the US? Is there anything that really intrigues you?
Anywhere in Gettysburg, but
Okay.
I don't know. I really. Yeah, I what is it? It's in Nevada. Virginia City.
Okay.
There's a lot of places in Virginia City.
That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I could dig that. Yeah. As the chat knows, everyone that follows, my biggest places, I want to go to Alcatraz. I want to spend 30 days on the rock.
That was popping in my head too, but I'm like, why am I thinking Alcatraz? And I know how crazy that would be, but yeah, you must have been thinking of it. And I was hearing it because
that's
that would be
list.
pretty cool too. But yeah, I mean, there's some places in Chicago like the Congress that would be cool.
You know,
the Drake would be cool.
I'd love to get a chance to the old Excalibur Club. I think that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that building, that's another one ever since I was little I've been drawn to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of work with the Rock and Roll McDonald's down there in downtown Chicago, and that's literally across the street. I remember
Right.
being a kid, standing in the
Right.
parking lot, just staring at that building and not knowing why.
That's
You
part of the
know?
document that I want to include in my document series is the mobster scene, back in the day.
Yes, I am totally drawn to that. Now, as we
Hmm.
were talking about up north, what was it, Little Bohemia? Is a spot I'd like
Yeah,
to
I
check
got
out.
pictures of every single bullet hole of that place. Oh yeah, when I was
Mhm.
there, I took a ton of pictures, and yeah, that was crazy. That
Yeah,
actually had some activity, but it's not haunted per se. It's weird.
yeah.
It's not. It's got some residual energy there, but it's not
Hmm.
nothing that I really foresaw that there was anything there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I've always wanted to check that out. I've driven past it a few times. I've never bothered to stop.
oh, you got to. I mean, I went there. First time I went there, and the second time I went there, I had dinner.
Nice.
So
How was the food?
yeah,
I'm a foodie,
it was
so
all
how was
right.
it?
It was good. I had prime rib. It was. I would say, I would out of 10, I'd give it a 7.
Okay,
So it wasn't too bad, but it was
nice.
cool because of the. I could sense and feel the residual energy around that place. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I could sense all that. And when I walked in the room that had all the shotgun bullet holes that went through the window, went through the wall, um, yeah, that was intense. That was pretty intense. And
Yeah,
I wonder who was the person that thought of, after all of that happened there, decided to plexiglass all the windows and keep all the broken windows the way they were. You know what I mean? Did somebody
right.
think to themselves, hey, a big, huge FBI and mobster shootout happened here. Let's just
That's
preserve this. you know,
right. Exactly.
that kind of escapes me a little bit.
I'm thinking that's more like divine intervention there. Something said, "Hey, you need to,"
Yeah, yeah,
because
maybe.
how would they
Shotgun
even know?
blasts are crazy. On the back wall and then one of the main dining rooms, the shotgun blast that hit that back wall. There's big holes, little holes, tiny holes, bigger hole. I mean, it was just
You know,
that was intense. That was crazy.
I bet. And another thing I want to check up out there is in the driveway where the innocent ones had got gunned down.
Hmm.
Because I've always
Yep.
wondered, were they
Yep.
are they hanging around because you know they're caught in
Yeah.
the
Not
crossfire?
from what
Or,
I could tell. From what I could tell, no. It was a brief interlude, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was different. Um, from what I'm gathering, the guy that was in the car seat or in the front seat that was drunk, that that guy was other guy was taking him home or whatever.
Mhm.
That guy who died pretty quickly. Um, from what I gathered when I had seen it, it was like a portal like opened up on the side between those center trees,
Yep.
and then they basically came and got him and led him into the light, and that was it. Because I
That's
don't
good.
know with the land, it's different. With the land, there's a lot of history just because of the
Mhm.
Native Americans and whatnot. I mean, you know what I mean. So
There's a
that's
lot of
charged as it
layers.
is, right? So that's a lot of layers. But as far as spirits in the building and even on the property, it's hard to tell because there's a lot of layers there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, even if you go up the road to Mercer,
Hmm.
that old bar and grill or bar, I should say, on the
Yep.
main street that was owned by Capone's brother.
Yep. That's right there on the corner.
Ralph, was it Ralph? I think his name was. I think it was Ralph.
Hmm.
Um, more about this mobster place. Little Bohemian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
that's
look. You can look it
that's
up.
in Manitwish Waters.
Yep.
So Manitwish Waters in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So what's that highway that you take straight up to? Because you got to go by Madison.
Yep.
And you got to go by
51.
the Dells.
You know, you go way past that. You go past Wausau.
Yeah, so I'm trying to. I want to say that's not 5. That's I don't know what highway that is, but yeah. If she's in Chicago, if Pam's in Chicago, then she could just come up from Chicago, get on 50, and take 43 all the way up. Was it 43?
That's what I'm trying to look up right now.
She could take 43 all the way to Beloit.
Yeah, and then you end up on 39 heading north.
Yep. And then that'll take you straight up past Manitwish Waters and Wausau and
39 is
90.
turn into 51.
39 to 90. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Yep.
Yep. When you get into Wausau, it'll be 39 and 51. You stay on 51.
51.
All the way.
That's what it is. Yeah, 51. I knew there was a 5 in there somewhere, but it's been a while since I've been there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Little Bohemian, and they've got good food, and they're they do tours because they still have a lot of not a lot, but I mean they had Dillinger's money bag was left behind. Some of his clothes, some of his toiletries. When they filmed Johnny Depp and Public Enemy, they shot. Yeah, they shot some of that movie there. He's got a picture there of himself and some other things, and so yeah, it's a known place.
Nice. Being from Chicago, I've always been drawn to the whole mobster scene, the mafia.
So have I. Yeah,
I lived on unincorporated Hinsdale for a while, and right down the road was Archer Avenue. And when you turn on Archer Avenue, head towards the city, you have Archer Woods there. And Capone actually had a little hideout out there in the woods that he'd kill his lights, pull off into the woods on the trail, and he'd lose whoever was following.
There's actually another supposedly Capone hideout on Spider Lake, which is right by Mercer.
Okay.
The guy that owned this small cabin resort knew the lady who used to be one of his secretaries or something like that. That he was left to her, and there was a trail that he says, sometime when the weather's nicer, we could take you down this trail, and we'll show you where this mansion or whatever is. And so there's a lot of different hidden stories about his hideouts. I'm sure he had plenty.
Oh yeah.
And
actually, the one you're talking about, I think someone sent me a link on Facebook about that about a month ago.
Really?
It sounds awfully familiar. And there was somewhere up north here, there was a Capone hideout, house, cabin, the whole works that you could actually go and stay at.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
awesome. But yeah. If you guys want to get into the mafia stuff, we'll have to come back for another show, and we'll talk mafia and paranormal all night long. Right up my alley.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Ravenwolf. So yeah, but we're at the top of the hour. So we just
already
on for about an hour. Yeah, it flew by on us. You know, so as much as I've enjoyed this, I will have you back again, my friend.
Okay, yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. Robbie's over here sleeping. Sorry. Usually my pit bull makes a guest appearance on a lot of my shows, but he's been napping this whole time, so we've been good.
Right.
So want to cut a hay. I think I've heard about something.
Yeah, the one in Cudahy. Yep. I heard that one. Yep.
Yeah. So now, if anyone wants to get a hold of you, how do they find you? Shameless plug.
Okay, well, shameless plug. Okay, so you can find me on Instagram under Studio 6 Media, or you can find me at Paranormal Diner on Instagram and Jay Hill on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, J D. Hill on Facebook. I also have a spiritual page too, a mediumship page, and I have TikTok, Studio 6 Media, and Studio 6 Media on YouTube. And yeah, I think that's it. I've got a lot of different places.
Sounds
all
like
all my shows. I have like 5 different shows, but all my shows are based under Studio 6 Media on YouTube because it was just easier to do that instead of creating different ones for, you know what I mean, every different title. So it just made it easier that way.
Well, I'll make
and
sure
I'm my
after
own
we
boss.
get off, right? After we get off, I'll make sure I go and subscribe. So
okay,
if you're
great.
Listening to this,
I appreciate
guys,
that.
like, share, subscribe, both Studio 6 Media, Road Paranormal on YouTube, and All Access. You know, by doing this, you're going to help us out a lot. It gets us more into the algorithm, gets us out more. And we greatly appreciate that. So, any last words from you?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me on, and this has been a great time.
Hey, it's been an honor.
Good conversation.
You know,
yeah,
I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, we try to keep everything to an hour. So believe me, I will have you back because I want to continue this conversation.
Yeah.
So all right, guys. Like I said before, like, share, subscribe. Prayers for little Wyatt. You know, he needs your help. Prayers for Glenn for a safe and speedy recovery from her surgery tomorrow. And, you know, remember, get out there and live your dreams today. Don't just dream your life away. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace. Love you guys. Takes away, Sean.